Yo, what's going on everyone? It's Brian and Jim from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and welcome to our last NES Hockey Game review. Today, we're going to be checking out Pro Sport Hockey.
This only came out on two consoles, the NES and the Super NES. In Japan, they both came out in '93. In the US, the NES came out in '93, and for some reason the Super NES came out in '94. Why? I don't know. It's 20 years old and it doesn't really matter at this point. This was developed by Tose and published by Jaleco. So where have we heard that combo before? Well, they worked together on all the bases loaded games, NES Play Action Football, Muscle, Manic Mansion on the NES. So, this is a combo that's got some traction behind it. As it always worked out well, that's pretty debatable. But, let's see how their hockey effort goes.
Let me just start off by saying I am so happy we are not looking at Wayne Gretzky hockey anymore. So anything has to be an upgrade. And this game, well, look at it. It does look a hell of a lot better. This is proof that if you do top down the right way, it can actually work. The rink actually looks pretty detailed. There's a lot of nice little cutscenes, and what Tose and Jaleco were known for best is their presentation. We don't really have any major gripes with this game. I may have scored this a little lower than Jim. It was probably because I was just getting tired of playing hockey games, and as you'll see, there's other things I don't like about this game. But there's nice different colors for each team. They may not match the teams they represent, but Jim will talk about that later. Either way, it's not bad. I gave it a 6 and Jim gave it an 8. And as far as the beer requirement meter is concerned, I'm going to add 2. As in the difference between me and Jim's numbers. Get it? 8 minus 6 is 2. Get it?
If I could go one review without having to hear him scream "get it" into my ear, I'd be a very, very happy man.
Get it?
Right on cue. Anyway, the sound. So the music in the game, when there is music, it's actually pretty good. Brian liked it more than I did, but no matter what your taste is, it's at the very least passable. There's a problem though. You only get it in the opening screen, in the menus, and after games. During the game? No. You almost get no sound. What sound you get? Well, you get little bits of static that really is just shots and skating. You get little bits of static that sounds slightly different for when you hit a guy. That's supposed to be the crowd. And you get these weird thumping noises, which is what happens when you pass. I don't know how they did so little here. It makes no sense to me. It's a decent package, but during the games you get nothing. What the hell? Anyway, Brian gave it a 6, I gave it a 5. I'm going to add 3 beers for the deafening, eerie silence you have to put up with during the game, so you need to be drunk to make your own music. See? I could do it. Why couldn't they?
Well, I'm going to be honest. Right before we did this review, we were reviewing our scores, and when we played this game, we had just gotten done Wayne Gretzky hockey. So we scored this a lot higher than you're about to see. After replaying it for at least a solid hour, we realized, what the fuck are we talking about with those scores? We were clearly way too drunk. So anyway, enough with that banter. This game, it's very average. The biggest problems we've seen is that you feel real clunky while you're trying to skate, and you build up this really odd momentum that actually should be fine, but the rink feels way too confined, so that by the time you speed up, you just run into the goalie or into the boards. Your turning radius is like a goddamn 18-wheeler. I don't know why these guys can't turn on a dime. They're fucking professionals. Be goddamn gentlemen out there and turn like men. Stop this goddamn wide shit. Other than that, it's all the typical shit we've seen so far. You really only have a slap shot and a pass button, so we can't hate too much. It's responsive enough, but it just feels clunky. So as you see, me and Jim, we both gave it 5s. I'm only going to add 2 beers. Why? Because I want to. Deal with it.
Deal with it? Really?
Get it!
Oh, God. Alright, Batista. Anyway, the gameplay. Like Brian already said, the controls so weird that you don't really get a good feeling out of the game. As you're playing it, it's one of those games, one of those hockey games that's actually typical of some of the badder ones, where you're just mashing your finger into the D-pad trying to almost will your players to move better. I've played a lot of old school hockey games. You don't feel this with Blades of Steel, you don't feel it with NHL 94, you don't feel it with Mutant League Hockey, any of the good ones. It's just, you can tell when something's off, and it's off here. One good thing I'm going to say is that at least when the puck goes to you, you switch control to that player. What a nice improvement. Alright, you get a couple different game modes. You get the Super Cup, which I wonder what that could be. You get Exhibition, and you get Training. So, for 93, The game's licensed by the Players Association, but not by the NHL. So, while you get actual player names, you don't get actual team names or, real team jerseys. But you get the names of the cities. So, nothing we haven't seen before, but it's just... something's just not fun about it. It's really forgettable. I mean, we had to play through it again right before we did the review, just because we completely forgot we even played it. So, that tells you something. Overall, for the gameplay, Brian gave it a 6, I gave it a 5. It's definitely not the worst out there, but it's just so mediocre. I'll add another 2 beers for not making the Flyers orange. That makes me mad.
Like most later sports games, the originality is really going to take a hit. This game didn't offer anything specific that really was new to the game. I mean, we've seen it all through the past 3 NES games. I would just say it was presented in a more cleaner, more realistic package, and you could see that this was the trend that games were really going towards. A lot of the later Madden games tend to have a look more like this, versus the side-scrolling view like Blades of Steel or the more arcadey feel of other games. We gave them some minor points for being kind of a pioneer in that aspect, and one thing I've never seen is, look at this. The computer can literally pause the game on you and make its own line changes. I have never seen that. At first, it was like, that's kind of interesting. And then, as you see here, within the span of like 10 seconds, it has to do it 2 or 3 times. It got annoying really fast, but still, it's something we hadn't seen before. So, me and Jim, we both gave it 5s. As far as the beer's concerned, I'm only going to add 1, because hey, really, what can you do in 93 at this point to add something new to the game?
Alright, replayability. Yeah, you get the different game modes. All the teams play differently. You get 8 different teams, and they reflect the real players. You can play against a buddy, and you can have all different kinds of fun with that. I mean, if you don't have any other hockey games, or if you have Wayne Gretzky, this would actually be a game that you can see yourself going back to. Is it great? No. But are there options there? Yeah. So, we both gave it 8s, and the only reason it didn't get higher is just because, there's more game options that could easily be in there. I mean, you could make a random tournament mode and have to be for the cup. I'll add another beer just because it's replayable enough. Another beer always adds more fun.
So overall, this game is actually what we were more anticipating for the first game on the NES to be, not necessarily the last game. Like Jim said, it's a very mediocre hockey game. There's nothing specifically wrong with it, but it's very forgettable. It's way better than Wayne Gretzky's hockey, but it's nowhere near as good as Blades of Steel, and it's still not as good as ice hockey. So anyway, we both gave it 5s. Middle of the road as it can be. There's some interesting things, but there's a lot of negative.
Get it? Oh wait, that doesn't work.
We would say don't really waste your money or your time on this one, but if you're a hardcore fan and you need it, we'd probably say check out the Super NES version. We haven't played it yet, but we're sure it's better. But maybe in the future we'll be checking it out.
Get it?
Jim, why would you do that? I never do that to you.
Yeah. Never, ever, ever.
Get it?
I hate him.
When pairing a beer with a game like this, we wanted to make sure we stuck with that theme of very middle of the road. So what's really better than Bud Light? That's a beer that can be at any party or in any alcoholic's refrigerator. Pick it up, drink it, it's forgettable. It'll go very well with this game. Just pound a whole bunch and play some really basic hockey action. As always, guys, thanks for checking out our video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up or leave some comments. We love answering you guys back. And come back next week when we check out some NES winter sports games. Cheers, guys.